Releasing fry. In this hatchery, we keep our fry in troughs until they get to a certain size, or until the creek level drops too low. Because it's been dry here, our water levels in the creek are too low. So we're going to release these fry as we feel that they are at a correct size to be able to survive in the wild. It can be very difficult to catch them because they're fast and crafty. We have a saying in our hatchery, never trust a coho. Sometimes you require a little help from a friend. The buckets are carried to the truck, and the fry are poured into the transport tank. The tank has been filled with water from the hatchery. The tank also has an oxygen source. There's an oxygen bottle fitted onto the side of the tank. You can see it there in the back. This is to provide oxygen for the fish while they're being transported. The lid is locked, and making sure that the valve is shut so that no water leaks out or fish don't escape. Before we go back in and we check the trough to make sure that nobody has been left behind. When we get to the release area, the first thing that we do is take the temperature. So when we know the temperature of the creek, we also know what the temperature was at the hatchery, and we need to adjust the water so that the fish don't get a shock when they go into the colder water. In this creek, the water was about 4 degrees colder. So right now we're mixing to make sure that when the fish go in, that they can adjust. We leave them in the buckets for a few minutes to get used to the water, the new water that they're going into. These fish are going to hate nets. They've been in and out of nets all day. This little guy seems pretty anxious to get going.
Holy cow, high, eh?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should get some more creek water then.
Okay. Hold on my hand.
7.9?
So when we've adjusted the water temperature and we've allowed the fry to acclimatize, we find a pool in the stream and we release the fish into there. We try not to release them in a place where it's flowing too fast for them. And we try not to release them in an area where we think that they will be trapped if the water dries up. Like this hole here. Brad decided that they could get trapped in there. So he went to find another pool that they would be safer in. Now in this part of the stream it is flowing quite quickly, but we know that there's a pool further down the stream that the fish will go to, and there's a little pool just off to the side that they will be safe in. So we decided that this would be a good area to put them. This was a nice little spot for them to be. The water is very clear, and most of the fish went to the bottom to hide amongst the rocks. Some of them were swept down in the stream, but as I said, there is a pool just further down that they would be safe in. Once the fish acclimatize, they would go to a lot of different areas and be quite happy in this stream for the next 2 years. This looks like nice habitat. So we've gone from the clear waters of Turundle to the rather murky water of Jungle Creek. Here, the creek is full of tannin, which makes the creek quite brown. But we do the same thing. We put the fish into the buckets. We've taken the temperature of the creek and find that the creek is actually quite warm. Actually, it's a bit warmer than what the water was at the hatchery. So we know that the fish will react differently. We found a very nice pool to put them in. So we just tip the bucket in, and immediately the fish swim away. They're not hiding in the rocks as the ones that Turundle did with the colder water. They're quite active. This is a good example of the difference that temperature makes for them. There's quite a lot of debris in the water, but that's stuff for them to eat. They're quite happy. You can see how the water is such a different color, but the fish do survive very well. So we can see that the habitat here is a little bit different, but they have deep pools to be in. They're swimming quite happily through, exploring their new home. The water is not flowing as fast as the other creek was. It will dry up a little bit, but there will still be deep pools for them to survive in. There's a lot of vegetation for the bugs to be on and drop into the water. There's areas for them to go to escape from predators. The habitat here looks lovely. There are many insects flying around, vegetation and logs to create shade. The logs are not blocking the way for them to get back to the ocean. It looks beautiful. If I was a salmon, I think I would like to live here.